Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I am coming at you with my beast of a monthly wrap-up. So we're just gonna go book by book and I'll kind of talk about my thoughts on each one, and today's video should be pretty short, hopefully. So let's dive on in. So the first book I read this month was Emma by Jane Austen. I ended up giving this one 4 stars, and it was a reread. Actually, a lot of the books I read this month were rereads, but there's just something super comforting about diving into a story that I already know and love and revisiting characters I know and love. And speaking of revisiting characters, Emma annoyed me this time. Maybe it was the difference of coming at it from an adult instead of the other times when I've read it where I've been younger and closer to Emma's age and therefore able to, I guess, sympathize with her a little bit better. But this time, she just drove me nuts. And I know that was kind of the point. Like, Jane Austen has always said that Emma was meant to be a main character that you didn't necessarily root for. Like, she's supposed to be kind of annoying and conniving and meddlesome. That's part of her charm. But this time, I just felt like she took it way too far sometimes and wasn't really listening to the people around her. She was just kind of doing whatever she wanted because she thought that what she was doing was best, because she wanted to help make her friends and loved ones happy, and there's nothing wrong with that, but I just think she took it too far sometimes. Then I read Twilight, which was another 4-star read, and with all the Twilight books, since I already did a video with my thoughts on Twilight, I'm not gonna really dive into these ones too much, but I will link that video down below so you can go watch that and see what I thought of all the books. Then I read New Moon, which ended up being a 3-star read, my only 3-star read of the month. And again, watch my previous video for my thoughts on it. Then I reread Romanov because I got the gorgeous paperback edition, which has a bonus chapter, and bonus chapters are always super fun. So I just had to reread it. And this one was a 5-star read because I love it so much. I've always liked the story of Anastasia, and I like that this is a little bit closer to the actual historical story of Anastasia as opposed to the animated movie that I still love, even though it's not quite historically accurate. But this has the addition of magic. And who doesn't love magic, right? Then the next book I read was Time Out of Time Book 1, Beyond the Door. This one was another 4-star read. It was really interesting. I really liked it. I like the Celtic mythology aspect of it, and the fact that Timmy is like fated to kind of save the world, and that there's something beyond this earth that's kind of at play here. But I also did find it hard to get really pulled into the story. Like, I never felt like I needed to just sit down and binge read it and find out what was going to happen next. So that's part of why it's a 4-star read for me, is because it pulled me in enough to want to finish it, but not enough for me to want to sit and just devour it all. And that's a sign of a good book for me. But one part that I do really like is that along the bottom, it has a code cipher thing that you can try and figure out yourself. I'd actually started doing it at the beginning, but then I realized that if I decoded each page as I was reading, it was going to take me so long to read the book. It still took me like a week to read this thing. So I stopped, and I just haven't gone through yet and finished figuring out the secret code. So at some point I will do that so that I know what the secret message is, but I don't know when it will be. Then I read Eclipse, which was another 4-star read, and again, see my previous video for my thoughts. And I read an ebook, which I had bought, I don't even remember when, but Thirst by Jill Williamson. This one was a 4-star read. It was really interesting. The main character is kind of going, like, he's on a wilderness trip with some friends through a church program for about 2 weeks, and then they get back and suddenly everyone around them is sick and dying. So hit a little bit close to home with the COVID pandemic going on right now, but it was still really interesting, and just kind of like, how do teenagers deal with the fact that suddenly they don't know if their parents are okay and they don't really know what's going on, and they just did 2 weeks of survival camping in the middle of the wilderness in Colorado, if I remember right. And now they're kind of having to do it for real because everything is going ass up. So it was really interesting, but my biggest gripe with it was the romance in it. I could have done without that aspect. I know, teenagers, there's gonna be romance and drama, but I didn't love the romance aspects of it, so could have done without that. But other than that, pretty good story. Then I did Breaking Dawn, which was another 4-star read. Then The Adventure Zone, Petals to the Metal. So this is a graphic novel. Ooh, that breeze felt good. It's so hot here today, so that felt good. Sorry. So it's a graphic novel based on the Adventure Zone Balance arc from their Adventure Zone podcast, which is the McElroy brothers and their dad playing Dungeons and Dragons, and they've continued it and they've played other ones. They've done Monster of the Week and some other really obscure tabletop roleplay games, but the Balance arc, which was their very first one, was always one of my favorites because it's just classic D&D. And I've always liked the Petals to the Metal, which was the 3rd storyline in that arc. And so it's really cool to finally have it in graphic novel form and be able to see the characters and what happened to them. And they're just so, I mean, it's just so pretty. Look at that. The colors, I love it. So this one was a 5-star read for sure. And then the last one I read was What If It's Us? I actually borrowed this one in ebook format from my local library, but I loved it so much that I went and bought it at Barnes & Noble when I was there getting some birthday gifts for my sisters anyway. So I love Arthur and Ben, and I love their relationship and how it evolved, and just the idea of like how much they're both into fate and the universe and all of that, because I definitely believe in a lot of that stuff, that we are put in certain places at certain times to either make our lives better or help make other people's lives better. And so I kind of liked that that was such an important part of this. And also just the fact that Arthur is so nerdy and into musicals, because that's me. Ask any of my friends and I'm always listening to soundtracks for musicals, and I would love to go to New York and see anything on Broadway. That would be amazing. Hamilton or Dear Evan Hansen would be my top 2 for Broadway, but really anything would be cool. But that's beside the point. So this one was a 4-star read because I really enjoyed it. And I might actually up it to 5-star because I don't remember why I gave it 4 stars instead of 5. It's just so good. So that was all the books I read this month. A whole 10, which is pretty impressive since some of those took me like a week. And I literally spent the last week just trying to get through an arc of To Sleep in a Sea of Stars by Christopher Paolini, which comes out in September, and I'm super excited for that one. And I'm only halfway through it, so that's going to be an August read for sure, because I haven't finished it yet. But getting through 10 books this month was pretty impressive, since some of them did take me a while to get through, so I'm proud of that. Comment below and let me know what were some of your favorite books this month, and if you've read any of the ones I read, do you agree with my thoughts? Do you think they're better than I do? Do you think they're worse? I don't know, let me know, and I'll see you guys next time.